I'm letting him in. He should be here. Hi, Gary.
Hi.
So Gary, I'm just going to briefly introduce you. I'm going to hand it over to Laura. She's going to really introduce you, give it back to you. You're going to talk for just why you're really excited to be here. And then the kids have questions for you. Cool. Guys, this is a really big deal. So Gary, it just hosted about 10,000 people this weekend, by the way. I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time, and all entrepreneurs need mentors. And I'm lucky enough to be able to call Gary a mentor of mine. There's very few people in the world that are as caring and compassionate as Gary, who cares so much about soft skills like you're learning with the 7 mindsets, and cares so much about really bringing these stories to life through his NFT collection. And you understand NFTs, which is so awesome because you're getting one. And so I'm just so excited to have him. And Laura, you can kind of talk about why you're so excited that Gary's here.
All right, so welcome, Gary V. We're super excited to have you with us today. Kids, this is Gary V. Gary V, this is our friend. So they've been learning about themselves and how they learn through their levels of engagement, through their different mindsets, and so much of it aligns with what you always talk about, with what's important in life, and that's what they're learning at a young age. And so we're really excited for them to be able to ask you some questions today. So first up.
Hello, my name is Adeline, and my question is, how did you become an entrepreneur?
Adeline, thank you so much. First of all, class, I'm so excited to be with all of you. This is the highlight of my day. I'm so happy, and I'm excited to answer your questions. You know, I don't think I became an entrepreneur. I think I was born an entrepreneur. For everyone who's sitting in class, by the time I was in 2nd and 3rd grade, I was already really excited for the summer to sell lemonade. I liked to hang out with my friends and create like a little, get on me with that for selling lemonade. I liked creating like little stores with my friends. You know, I would go door to, in the 1980s, kids would just go outside and we would just ring people's doorbells and try to sell them flowers. So I think for a lot of you, you just love music. You just love cooking. You just love school. I feel like a lot of people are born with things that they love. And I loved being a business mind and a business kid and a businessman. But here's what's important, kids. A lot of you love certain things: skateboarding, rock climbing, drawing, coloring, making music, making videos, being a good friend. But the key is to practice, right? Just because you're born good at something, if you don't practice and practice and practice and practice and practice, then you may not be able to achieve the highest levels of what you're trying to achieve. And so not only was I born a businessman or an entrepreneur, but starting around your age up until right now, I've been practicing almost every day at it, which is what's made me good at it, not just liking it.
Great, thank you. All right, Ezekiel.
Hi, my name is Ezekiel. My question is, where do you get your inspiration from?
Ezekiel, first of all, thank you for your question. That's a great question. Before you go away, can I ask you a question?
Come back.
Where do you get your inspiration from? I love it. Very nice. So for me, my inspiration comes from my parents. I was not born in America. I was born in the Soviet Union, which is now Russia and Belarus and some countries maybe you haven't heard of yet. But, we came to America and we had very little. We were immigrants. And I lived in a small apartment with a lot of, not only my parents, but my grandparents, my great-grandparents, my uncle. And so it was very humble beginnings. And so my parents loved me so much and worked so hard, and they gave me the opportunity. So I'm filled with gratitude for my parents, and they're my inspiration.
Thank you. How many people can relate to that? That like your parents are your #1 supporters. All right, Grant.
Hi, my name is Brantley, and my question is, how did you get through school?
That's a good question. So Brantley, I love you for that question. I'll tell you why. Kids, some people, school comes natural, just like we talked about earlier with skateboarding or cooking or business. For me, school did not come natural. It was hard. And, you know, I struggled in school a lot of different times. You were also lucky because we live in a world now that understands the brain better, the way kids learn better, the way we all do it differently. And so the way I got through it was, patience. The way I got through it was looking for different things that brought me joy. And so I loved math class. I loved history class. I loved gym. Recess was the best. I loved lunch. And so, I found different ways to get through it through the years. But, I can tell you this one thing now that I'm done with it. I would pay a lot of money to be back in school and be able to enjoy my friends and learning. And so you should all really enjoy this special 12, 15 years that you have, because there's nothing like a childhood and being in school with each other.
Thank you. All right, Nevaeh.
Hi, my name is Nevaeh, and my question is, how did you feel on your first day of your business and why?
Nevaeh, that's a great question. It's really interesting that you asked me that with the question that was just asked for me. My first day in business officially was right after I was done with college. And it was in my dad's wine store. And don't forget, kids, you can't drink wine until you're 21. But it was fair enough. And so it was my dad's wine store. And I had been working in it since I was 14. And I loved it there. I loved helping my dad. So the way I felt my first day was I was ecstatic. I was thrilled because I couldn't wait to work for my family's business. And now I was done with school and I was ready to work. And it was one of the best days of my life. And the reason was because I was going to be doing what I was born to do, which is to be a businessman.
Thank you. All right, Emily.
Hi, I'm Emily, and my question is, are you happy with your life?
That's a great question, Emily. Thank you. I'm extremely happy with my life. Kids, you may remember this, you might not, because I know how young you are. But even if one of you remembers exactly what I'm about to say for the rest of your life, then this is one of the best meetings I've ever had in my life, because it means you're going to start believing this very early. I'm extremely happy with my life because I'm thankful for everything I have, and I have no envy or jealousy or wants or needs of what other people want. Kids, one of the biggest issues in the world is people are jealous or envious of other people. They want what they have. They want the kind of things they have. Maybe the book bag they have, the clothes they have, the money they have, the house they have, the toys they have. And this goes on forever when you get older. The reason I'm so happy with my life is because I never worry about other people. I actually only root for other people. I want other people to have those things. I'm happy that they have those things. I hope that they're happy too. But by keeping my life very simple and just being grateful for what I have, makes me the happiest. I'm one of the happiest people on earth. I really believe that. And that's because I keep things simple. As long as I have happiness and health of my family, I don't need things. I don't focus on things. And so my life is incredibly happy. I'm very grateful for what I have, and I don't spend time worrying about what I don't have.
Sounds like he has an attitude of gratitude, maybe, right? That we're learning about. So let's clap for an attitude of gratitude. All right, Jenny.
Hi, I'm Jenny, and my question is, why did you make VeeFriends?
Let's say that again, nice and loud.
Hi, I'm Jenny, and my question is, why did you make VeeFriends?
Jenny, great question. Why did I make VeeFriends? Here's why. I could tell you a lot of good things right now, but I have a feeling if Respectful Raccoon did it in a cartoon or a video game, you might understand it even more. I could tell you about a lot of ways on how to become likable and why you should always love your fellow student and neighbor and teacher. But I think Likable Leopard has a better chance of getting you to pay attention to that than I saying it to you. I created VeeFriends because I really believe in kindness and love and good and having compassion and being an empathetic person and having an attitude of gratitude. But I know that I'm only one human being. And if I want to get people to hear the message, I have to do a lot of different things. If I want to explain to you that resilience and willpower and working hard matters, I have a feeling that the willful wizard is cooler to you than I am. And so I want to make sure that I leave the biggest impact of happiness and love on the world. And I need my VeeFriends to help me do that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, Peyton.
Hi, my name is Peyton, and my question is, have you spoken in any schools before?
Peyton, that's a great question. I love your shirt, Peyton. Yes, I have. It's one of my favorite things to do. Speaking to children's a lot of fun because a lot of you are still making your decisions and learning about yourself. And for me, that's a great time to talk to kids because then you can really impact them. I remember school assemblies today, and I'm 47 years old, and I remember school assemblies in first grade, third grade, fifth grade that had an impact on me. And so I'm very, very honored. I'm so grateful that you allowed me to be with the class is today. And so I have, and I will continue. And one of the reasons I created VeeFriends is I think one of the biggest things you could ever do is to impact kids. And I'm focused on that.
Hi, I'm Avia, and my question is, how do you draw the characters?
Via, that's a good one. Thank you for the question. So starting around your age, everyone, I started to doodle, sometimes in class, and sometimes my teachers were not happy I was doing that. So make sure you pay attention to your teachers. But sometimes I would doodle on the bus and after school, and I would always doodle. Like I really like doodling. How many people here like to draw? So this is interesting, kids. You'll find this interesting. Almost the entire class raised their hand. Almost so many hands just went up. But by the time you're in 7th grade, 9th grade, 11th grade, a lot of you will no longer raise your hand and say that you like to draw. A lot of you will stop drawing. I never stopped drawing. I never stopped doodling. And so when it came time to do VeeFriends, instead of hiring somebody else to do it, I did it. And it was one of the most joyous and fulfilling things I ever did. So if I could tell any of you, all of you, never stop drawing. It's very creative and it will bring a lot of joy in your life.
Thank you. We have 2 questions from kiddos that are absent today, so I'll just ask them on their behalf. This one is from Caden, and his question is, how did you go from drawing characters to having them be animated?
Caden, it's a great question. So once I drew them, now I had them established. So then I worked with a company that created the second version of them, like the way you see them now versus my drawing. And I met with a lot of different companies, and I picked the ones that I thought were the nicest and the people that could do a good job. So sometimes kids, when you get older and you're in the work world, you'll end up having partnerships, and make sure that you remember this. It's not just someone who's good at it. It's someone who you also want to work with because you'll have a nice relationship.
And the last question we have is from Dominic. His question is, how do you solve problems?
Dominic, my favorite way to solve problems is to try to understand what the other party or person is thinking about. So how many, hey kids, real quick, by show of hands or the move, how many of you have had disagreements with fellow classmates in your life? So what we saw right there is disagreements are a part of life, right? Even though you might be friendly with somebody in here, you might not see eye to eye on everything, and that's okay. What you have to remember is you can't just focus on how you feel about it. You have to remember there's another person too. And you might want to start thinking about, why are they thinking that? Why do they see it differently? When I was a kid and somebody would pick on me or not be nice, for some reason, whether it was good parenting by my mom or because it was the way I was born, or probably a combination of both, I would always think they weren't being mean to me. They were in a bad place and they were unhappy and something must have been going on in their life. And so they're hurt. And so maybe that's showing up with them not being nice. The way I solve problems is through compassion and through empathy and trying to understand what the other person's problem is and how we solve it. And sometimes that's complicated, like a disagreement or argument. And other times it's just partnering up to make something happen and you're trying to understand what they're trying to achieve. So the way I get through these things is by being curious and asking questions and always having good intent for the other person or party.
Laura, can I ask some questions to Gary?
Absolutely.
We have some
Yep.
time? Great. So Gary, one of the skill sets that this CBEA is learning, now this is a school all around entrepreneurship, which again is why you are the most perfect person / your little animals for them. And they actually watched VeeFriends leading up to this. They watched the videos in class, which is so awesome.
Hey kids, did you guys like the VeeFriends videos? Raise your hands. All right, thank you for the ones who raised their hands. And the ones that did not raise their hands, I'm coming to town to talk to you about it.
One guy's laughing. He's going to be good feedback for you. So one of the skill sets out of the 7 skill sets that these wonderful students are learning is around learning from failure. And I think that's unbelievable for kids in a school to really understand that they can learn from failure. So do you have a story of how you've learned from failure, and what advice do you have around when something seems like a failure? What can we do about it?
Kids, everybody in the world, hold on, I want to make sure. Can you guys hear me? Because you guys froze. You're back. Kids, everybody in the world has failed. There's not a single person that hasn't failed a lot of times. Teachers, raise your hands if you failed hundreds of times in your life. So kids, your teachers who are incredible are human beings who failed in small ways hundreds of times. That's what happens in life. The quicker you get comfortable with losing, the quicker you're going to have a happy life. You don't want to lose. It's not necessarily what you're trying to do, but not all losses are really losses. They're just step backs. They're just little moments in time, and they're always an opportunity to learn and understand. And so I highly recommend you understand that losing is a part of life. One of the biggest mistakes that grown-ups sometimes make is trying to protect kids from losing. Losing is a part of life, and the quicker you get comfortable with it, the quicker you're going to have a happier life. I don't like losing, but I know it's a part. And when I lose, I try to reflect on what I could have done better. And then I try to bring that energy to the next time. So that's what you have to really realize. It's just a part of life, just like the sun coming up and going down and the moon coming up and going down. You will lose. You will get bad grades. You will lose a sporting game. Like you'll have a bad day. You'll lose a friend along the way. Things will happen. And that's okay because you're strong enough to make it better.
So I really like that point. One of the things that we do every month is we give a staff member the Epic Failure Award. Next year, what I'm hoping is as our kids get older and they start taking more risks with their learning, that we can start giving an epic failure award to the kids to celebrate trying something and coming back from it and learning from that failure.
I think I think the kids are incredibly lucky that you're doing that.
Going back to how lucky the kids are, I'm going to kind of combine 3 skill sets out of the 7, Gary, because I know you and I feel like there's actually probably a character named after one of these skill sets. So in terms of your life, you know, the skill sets around recognizing opportunity, taking risks, and staying curious. I'm pretty sure curious is one of your VeeFriends. And you really talk about curiosity and how it's played a humongous role in your life. And so I'm curious around, how has curiosity brought you to where you are? And how has curiosity helped you actually find opportunities and take risks? So how is that a part of who you are? And yeah, which VeeFriends is it?
I was trying to see, so it is Curious Crane, which I don't think is in my office. Curiosity is one of the, again, kids, when I do this, I'm hoping that one of you hears me, 2 of you hear me on certain different things that are valuable to you. This word curiosity is one that I would love for you to attach onto. The curious crane, which is a bird in my world, is a very important character. Amanda's right. Curiosity has been essential in my happiness. Why does it work like that? Why? You know, trying different things. Some of you, if you were asked, do you play soccer? Actually, watch this. How many of you here like soccer? Raise your hand. How many people here have never played soccer or played very little soccer? Raise your hands. So for the people that just raised their hands, maybe you do love soccer, but you haven't played yet. And instead of being scared or timid or just not even considering it, doing that for everything, the piano, the violin, basketball, cooking, drawing, painting, singing, karate, you know, all these things in the world that you could be doing, if you stay curious and say maybe instead of no. So many of you say no to things already. How many of you have been asked to do something with a friend, but because you were scared or you didn't like it, you said no? Raise your hand. I'm really proud of you for raising your hand and being honest. What I'm asking the class to do is the next time a friend asks you to do something that you're scared of or you don't think you like, instead of saying no, say maybe, and maybe ask them another question about it. And then half the time say yes and try it. There are some things that are my favorite thing to do in the world that I don't even know because I never did it. It might be surfing. It might be pastry chefing, but I never tried it. And I want to do that more in my 40s. It's a heck of a lot better to do it when you're in your age group. So please say maybe. And that's how curiosity works. Are you guys on board with that? You understand?
Yeah. Okay. I would say this is the last question. So you were not lucky enough for CBEA to exist when you were a little kid. So you struggled a lot with feeling seen and really being understood within school. So if you were in this audience today, you're a little Gary in the audience, right next to Peyton, you know, with really awesome shirt. What do you want to tell yourself? You know, again, just that you feel like no one maybe gets you or no one sees you. What do you want to tell that little Gary in the audience?
Little Gary struggled in school, but he did not struggle when he sold lemonade or when he rang doorbells to wash cars. So let me tell you kids about entrepreneurship. The number one cool thing about your school and the number one cool thing on the journey that you're on is even if everyone says no, that this idea is not going to work. Your parents, your teachers, the people that you must listen to the most. But when it comes to entrepreneurship, even if they don't think it's a good idea and you think it's a good idea, you must try it. It might not work. And many of my ideas did not work. Many of my businesses did not work. But as entrepreneurs, like all of us are, it's almost like our destiny to try to make the things and the ideas that we have to happen. So I tell you in this class, even though I wasn't lucky enough to have a class like this or a school like this, even in this environment that you're in, there will always be people that don't think your idea is right. And they might be right. But you must try and see your ideas come into the world, because you'll never live with yourself if you don't try, especially as you get older. Do we understand?
Thank you so much, Gary. You've just provided so many insights to this wonderful class. Is it the shark?
Shark bait. Because we're the sharks.
Shark bait, ooh ha ha. That's the way that they.
Can we do our quick chant for you guys?
Yeah.
We're gonna do a shortened version. When I say we are, you say Clara Brown. We are. Say we are the sharks, the mighty, mighty sharks. You say the sharks, the mighty, mighty sharks. Ready? We are.
Woo!
Can I say one last thing?
Yes, always, Gary.
Shark bait.
Class, one day you'll be in the business world as entrepreneurs, and I'm still going to be doing this. And I cannot wait to work with some of you in the future. And I can't wait for you to tell me that you were in this class. And so I love you, and I can't wait to see you.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Bye. Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Oh my God, you guys did amazing. Was that so awesome? All right, it's just about. Oh.